When it comes to quintessential performance motoring brands from the UK, the chances are Aston Martin is at the top of your list. And today, we're hanging out with the man who heads up their local operations, Grant Dryden.
Thanks, Bredwin. Yeah, thanks for that introduction.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks for providing a suitable venue in which to have this interview.
No problem at all.
Let's get straight into it. Tell us about your history in the industry. Where did your career begin?
I started out in the motor industry coming straight out of varsity. And I guess when you've got motoring in your blood, there's only one place to go, and that was to head over to Daytona, and kind of started at the bottom, started in sales, and through the years I've worked my way up. So very privileged to have done that in such a short space of time, but there's no place else I'd rather be.
So tell us about the history of the brand in SA. When did it officially come to market, and how has it grown?
Yeah, so Aston Martin's an extremely strong brand for us in our stable. We launched the first V8 Vantage, funnily enough, in 2005. And since there, the brand's just grown from strength to strength, with the likes of the DB9, the previous generation Vanquish, cars like the Rapide, which was sort of our first four-door super saloon, which did extremely well for us and still does. Right up to today with Aston Martin's second century cars, which are the likes of this Vantage we're in, the new DB11, V8 and V12, and also the very exciting DBS, which will be launched later this year.
Okay. What are the challenges now in steering such a brand locally?
Yeah, look, I'd like to say I've got the best job in the world, but it does come with its challenges. You know, you're dealing with customers who know what they want, and I think that's the biggest thing is just looking after customer needs and ensuring that they're getting the best service.
So what are some of the USPs, would you say, that set Aston Martin apart from the other exotic brands in this very elite tier?
It's always been seen as the gentleman's supercar, so I'd like to say there are no airs and graces about driving an Aston Martin. You can wear a suit. James Bond does it very well in his Aston Martin. You know, you can be in a racing suit and you can take it to the track and thrash it around and still look like a gentleman, or sort of rock up to a wedding with your wife and still pull off the look. So I think it speaks to a variety of different clients. It's been extremely successful with the female clientele. So it's really a brand that is the ultimate super luxury sports car.
Okay, you mentioned all this different attire and different scenarios, but in your experience, who buys an Aston Martin? What's the general demographic?
Yeah, look, we've had 21-year-olds who have struck it lucky and come in and bought their first sports car from us, to sort of an aspiring gent who's just sold his company for a couple of billion rands and always wanted an Aston Martin. So there's a variety of different customers. As I mentioned, it's the gentleman's car, so it's a much softer kind of customer who knows what they want and doesn't want to be out there flashing their money, but wants to reward themselves for hard work.
Now, let us into the growth strategy going forward. What are the plans for Aston Martin in SA, and can you tell us a bit about some of the new products that might be on the horizon?
Yeah, so Aston Martin, our plan now and our short-term vision is we'll be moving to new premises in Melrose Arch in a couple of months' time. It's a massive move for us. We've outgrown our current facility in Sandton, and we've had to just take the call that we need to move to bigger facility. Also with Aston's brand plan, you know, they intend to extend their model lineup. So we'll see the likes of an SUV next year. There's also some exciting mid-engine supercars in the pipeline.
Let's rewind a little bit to that SUV, the DBX.
That's it, yeah.
Shed some light on that.
Yeah, so I've been privileged enough to see the car in Gaydon. I've actually seen it in both clay form and a finished product, and I must just say it's absolutely beautiful. It's everything that an Aston should be. It'll have the power to match, the performance to match, and most of all, it'll be a true Aston Martin. we don't skimp on luxury and style, so it will fulfill all those characteristics that everyone's used to.
So what constitutes the core at the moment in the Aston Martin portfolio? Talk us through the range.
Yeah, so the core product for us is the car we're sitting in today. It's the Vantage with its 4-litre twin-turbo V8. You know, the Vantage comes in at a mere 2.8 million, so it is our price point car. And just going back on history, we've sold over 300 Vantages into South Africa, so it's really been a strong model for us. Then moving up the range into DB11, so we now offer a range of different DB11s. We've got the DB11 V8, both in Coupe and Volante form. We've also got the DB11 V12, and later this year the DB11 V12 AMR, which is a more sporty, exciting variant to the DB11 V12. And then a very, very exciting product is the DBS, which we'll see later this year. And that really is the pinnacle of our brand stable, our brand offering in Aston Martin, and no doubt will be the ultimate Grand Tourer. I mean, just to give you a little snippet there, that's a 900 Newton meter Grand Tourer, so it's really going to show up everyone in the performance department.
Hypothetically, let's say you've got a garage, can only contain 5 cars, what would you pick? Of course, they've got to be from the stable.
Yeah, no, sure. That's. I think my ultimate car in the Aston stable would probably have been a 177 if I could have got my hands on that. I think it's just an unbelievable car. I'd have to have a repeat for a family that I hope to one day have, so that would need to be in there. And then I'm a huge advocate of this V8 Vantage. It really just allows you to drive an Aston every day, and it's just a fantastic place to be. So definitely have to have a Vantage, and then just to show up the boys, probably a DBS in there when that comes out. So hopefully the lottery does me well this year and I can get a DBS next year. And then that being said, Valkyrie, so probably going to be the ultimate Aston Martin. Adrian Newey's influence in developing that product. It's literally a car that's going to change the game. It's an F1 car for the road, and that'll definitely be the ultimate Aston Martin going forward. So if I could choose 5, it would be those 5 without a doubt.
I guess you'd throw a classic Lagonda in there just to confuse people.
Yeah, you know, maybe a DB5 or something like that. I'm a young man, so I like young modern product, but you're probably right there. I probably would need something a little bit older just to throw into the mix.
All right, well, thanks a lot for your time, Grant, and I might be back later to sign an OTP for this piece.
I like the sound of that, yeah.
Wishful thinking.
I'll have my pen ready.
Perfect.
Thanks so much. Thanks for the chat.